is going on, everyone out there in YouTube land? Today, we're going to cater to the mouth-to-lung vapors, the high resistance, low wattage, tight airflow, single coil. Today, we're going to check out the GeekVape Ammit MTL RDA, not TA, RDA. Got it sitting on top of the Aspire Squonk at the moment. Got a 0.65 build in here. Got some Boba's Bounty loaded up. Don't you love the drip tip that it comes with? This drip tip is, even though it's really crazy looking, this used to be a very popular drip tip back in the day for the Genesis atomizers. And for mouth-to-lung vaping, this drip tip is super comfortable. May not be the best looking drip tip, but let me tell you, when you're mouth-to-lung vaping, man, this thing is beautiful. So let's have a mouth-to-lung vape. Mouth-to-lung, not direct lung, so not a lot of clouds. Let's have a vape or two, and we'll talk about the Ammit MTL. Very, very nice, actually. Decent, actually puts out quite a bit of vapor for being mouth-to-lung. I have the, let's close it off to the very, very tightest possible setting. Tiny air hole, there we go. Tightest setting possible. Nice throat hit on this 3 milligram. Really, really nice. Very good, actually. Now, the Ammit MTL RDA is sent over directly by GeekVape for the purpose of this review. If you guys are looking to pick one up or check one out, I'll have links posted in the description as always. Going price, depending on where you shop, depends on how much you pay. I priced it anywhere between $28.99 and $31.99. So inside the box, you're going to get the Ammit MTL RDA that will include one stainless steel drip tip. You'll get two smaller Delrin tips, 510 drip tip adapter. You'll get a bottom feeding 510 pin, flathead screwdriver, GeekVape tri-tool, some pre-made coils, and some extra O-rings and post screws. So the Ammit MTL RDA, like the title says, is a mouth-to-lung atomizer. It's going to be very tight restricted airflow, more suited for high resistance, single coil only. This one is not going to be for the cloud chasers. It measures 22 millimeters in diameter at the base. It is available in 7 different color options, and this one is the stainless steel one I have here at the moment. Now at the top, they're going to include this old school stainless steel 510 drip tip. This reminds me of the drip tips that I used to use back in the Genesis atomizer days. A very tall, very narrow drip tip. And you can, of course, use all your own standard 510 drip tips inside of there with no problem. And they also include 2 Delrin tips. These are not 510 tips, though. They actually have threads on the bottom. What they do include is this little threaded stainless steel 510 adapter. So what you do, take the tip that you prefer, either the short one or the tall one, screw it down into the adapter, like so, and then just pop it in place. And I much prefer the look of these smaller Delrin tips. There's the smaller one, pretty tight fit, and there is the taller one right there. Now, the Ammit is a top airflow RDA, as you probably can tell there, which means it's going to be a leak-proof atomizer. Airflow is going to come in from the top, work its way down, hit the coil from the side and under the coil. So even though the airflow is at the top, the airflow is going to hit the coil from the bottom or along the side, and I'll show you more about that in a moment. We have a single adjustable airflow control ring at the top. We have a few airflow options. You'll notice we have this large slot right here. And for the maximum amount of airflow, you can run all the air holes open. You can do a direct lung vape, but it's going to be really restricted. Once again, more for mouth-to-lung vaping. And then what you can do is you can close off one of the holes. You could do 4 holes, 3, 2, and 1. Or you got a single 2 millimeter hole on this side. And that 2 millimeter hole, you can actually line up with one of the single holes. That's going to be the largest, and then the most restricted vape you're going to get is right about there. The airflow control ring on here cannot be removed. This section is actually press fit with the chimney that's on the inside, so there's no way to remove this. But the airflow control ring, it's decent. It's not too loose, not too tight. We have the Ammit logo laser etched on the front. And then at the bottom, we have a gold-plated, non-adjustable 510 pin. And they do include a bottom feeding 510 pin, which I'm not sure where I put it at, but we're actually going to install that in a moment because I want to show you how the build deck looks once it's broken down and how the airflow system works. So looking at the inside of the top cap, there's that chimney that I was talking about, and this is going to be all one piece, all press fit together. And your airflow is going to come in right between those two pieces. So the airflow comes in from the top, and what it's going to do is going to work its way down through the holes right here along the side, and it's going to hit your coil from that little hole right there along the side. Now the build deck measures around 19 millimeters in diameter. Very small build deck, single coil design. We got your 2 posts, and the post holes I measured roughly around 1.8 millimeters each. Once again, really hard to get my calipers in there, but you'll have no problem mounting a single coil. Phillips head screws in the posts, and the juice well on here is huge, 8 millimeters deep on the juice well. You can see it down in there. And what's nice about squonking on this particular RDA is the juice, when you squonk, actually feeds in from the bottom. So it's going to fill up the reservoir. It's not going to pump out of the top right here, so you don't have to worry about going into the air hole and flooding it. It actually feeds in from the bottom, which I thought was really nice. Now what we're going to do is we're going to install the squonk pin, but at the same time I want to remove the post just to show you guys how the airflow works. And we have this little nut at the top right here, and to be honest with you, I'm not sure exactly what it does. I don't believe the airflow comes in from the bottom and the side. I think it only comes in from the side right there. But I'm going to remove this post, give you guys a look at it, and see what you guys think. So all you need to do is grab your flathead screwdriver and just remove the 510 pin at the bottom. And be careful, because that little tiny nut at the top right there, if you drop that, you are not going to find it. So be very careful. Let's unscrew this. There we go. Pop this off. It's going to be your positive post. There's your peak insulator. And now you can get a better idea of how the airflow works. It's going to come in right there. And I thought it came in, yeah, it does come in right there. So comes in at 2 spots, and then it's going to travel its way through the side opening right there. And once again, I don't think it comes through that center piece right there, because the 510 screw actually threads into right there. So I don't think, yeah, I don't see how the airflow would work there. So this little adjustment nut right here, once again, I'm not sure what it does. It might adjust the airflow somehow, but I don't really see the purpose of it. I'm sure it has a purpose, but maybe I'm just missing it. So to install the squonk pin on here, very simple, if I can find it, because I think I just lost it, hopefully not. Is this the squonk pin? This is the squonk pin. As you'll see, the hole is not directly at the top, it's all along the sides, because it's going to fill up the reservoir. So give you a better idea when I pop this through. You'll see right there, the hole's going to be in at the bottom. If my camera would stay focused, you probably can't see it, so it's going to fill from the bottom, which is really nice. So for this video, we're actually going to use the coils that come inside the kit, because they do use really small coils, and I don't think I have any pre-made coils this small, since I'm not really a big mouth-to-lung vapor. But we're going to use the provided coil, and all I got to do is just slide it through, and then go ahead and screw it down. Alright, got the coil screwed down. Let's take our little coiling tool and just adjust the coil a little bit. There we go. That should be good for now anyways. And real quick, I just want to test the resistance to see what this thing is ohming out at. It's ohming out at a 0.55. And all you're going to do is take your tweezers, scrape the coil, pulse it, scrape it, pulse it again, and just repeat the process until the coil is lighting up nice and even. Alright, so I got it wicked up. Just gonna brush the cotton just a little bit. I think these are 2 millimeter inner diameter coils, so this thing is not gonna use a lot of cotton whatsoever. So make sure you don't jam pack the cotton down in there. You want it down there pretty loose, so that way when you're dripping or you're squonking, the juice can freely flow through the cotton and it doesn't get jammed up. So that looks pretty good. I got it juiced up a little bit. I primed the coil. And when you're squonking with the cap off, if you over squonk, juice will come out of the air holes right here on the side. But when the cap's in place, you don't have to worry about that because the chimney section is going to block that. And when you squonk, it's going to pull the juice back down. So for instance, if I squonk like this, you know, if I do it pretty quickly like that, I'm fine. But if you overdo it, let's say you squonk too high, so far so good actually. If you go too high, like let's say right about there, you'll see it starts coming out of the air hole, but it pulls it back down. So when the cap's in place, you're not going to have to worry about that leaking because the cap, of course, is going to cover those air holes. So for instance, I'm squonking, I just over squonk completely, and as you can see, it's completely dry. It should have sucked that liquid, the excess liquid, back down in there, so that way when I pull the cap off, it shouldn't leak. There we go. All right. So that's going to be it for the up close and personal. Let's jump back up and let's have a vape off the Ammit MTL RDA. So let's talk a little bit about the Ammit MTL RDA. Now, me personally, I don't do mouth-to-lung RDAs. Mouth-to-lung RTAs, I do occasionally, but RDAs just never really been my cup of tea. I know a lot of people are mouth-to-lung vapors out there, which is totally fine. Whatever keeps you off cigarettes, whether it be mouth-to-lung vaping, direct lung, high wattage, low wattage, doesn't matter. But pulling this out of the box, I will tell you the first thing that came to mind was like the iGo W, the old school RDAs back in the day. 3-post design, real tiny ear holes, really big drip tip. The drip tip on here, I will say, it is goofy looking. It's crazy looking. It's about as tall as the RDA, but if you're mouth-to-lung vaping, this drip tip is by far the most comfortable drip tip for mouth-to-lung vaping because you get a nice grip on it, and it's a real comfortable pull when you're doing that tight restricted airflow. So I currently have the smallest air hole setting, the single air hole, 3 milligrams in here, unregulated device, what is it, 0.69, 0.65 we were at, and this thing actually has a really nice throat hit. Now if I were to use this all day, I would probably bump up to a 6 milligram just because I'm not getting that much airflow or that much vapor. So adjust accordingly. Don't use Nick salt. Do not use Nick salt. Just bump up, you know, to the next level. If you're doing 6, maybe do a 12 if you're going to do mouth-to-lung vaping. What's really cool about this RDA, it would come in really handy at a vape expo or a vape shop or somewhere where you're going to be taste testing a lot of juices. Do a few drops, take 1 or 2 pulls, cotton's dry, you can re-drip, try a different liquid, and yeah, I'm going to shut up, have a vape. Really good flavor. I mean, for a mouth-to-lung RDA, it's really good flavor. You can't compare it to the Goon or the Drop or anything like that, but for a mouth-to-lung device, awesome, awesome flavor. And I'm surprised I'm getting a throat hit off 3 milligrams, but I am. Airflow, don't even hear it. That's how quiet it is. Now, I have another one here. Airflow's wide open. Well, actually, you know what? Yeah, the airflow is... Well, we're not going to do airflow wide open. Reason being, I put some 12 milligram on here just to see what it would be like to bump up the Nick level. I don't have 6 milligram. I only got 12 milligram. But I got the tightest airflow setting on here. Pretty much same build. I'm at 31 watts. And going to take a quick mouth-to-lung vape, 12 milligrams. Very satisfying vape, very delicious. It's not too harsh, not too hot, not too warm. The coils they include are actually perfect for this RDA, so make sure you use the coils they provide. And if you want to use it for direct lung vaping, I'm going to say it's not the perfect RDA for direct lung vaping, but it can be done because you can open up all those air holes and you'll get a tight, restricted direct lung vape, but you'll still be able to put out clouds. For instance, let me show you. Not bad. And if I were to have this on a regulated device, I could probably crank it up a little bit higher and get a little bit more vapor. So yeah, this Ammit MTL can actually do a lot. It's not just mainly tight restricted airflow. So actually pretty impressed. I was thrown off, but when I first seen it out of the box, I was like, not this thing, but actually it's been quite impressive. The drip tips that it comes with, I think, are pretty nice. The Delrin tips, you know, they're nice, but the whole threaded ordeal and the adapter and all that jazz, you know, I always lose parts and pieces, so I wish they just included 510 Delrin tips and just kept it simple. Airflow control, very easy to adjust. I love the one-piece top cap or the chimney. The airflow control ring and the top cap are all press fit, very nicely done. Machine works, very nicely done. Building on it is a breeze. It cannot get any easier to build on it. Super deep juice well. Because of the top airflow, you're not going to leak. Impossible. You can over squonk, you can over drip. There's no way you could possibly leak. Now, if you pull the cap off and you over squonk, yeah, you will leak out of the air holes, but the cap will prevent it from leaking and pull the juice back in. All in all, it's actually a pretty nice RDA for being a mouth-to-lung style RDA. I'm probably not going to use it as much because I'm not a mouth-to-lung vapor, but if you're into the mouth-to-lung scene, I think the Ammit MTL is going to be one to check out. It's actually not that bad. GeekVape did an actually pretty cool job. So yeah, that's it. The Ammit MTL. Comments or questions, you know exactly what to do. Please hit the subscribe button. I'll talk to everyone very, very soon. Make sure you guys build safe. And as always, vape on.